Hi, everybody. Forgive me. I'm trying. I apologize for being late. I'm trying to get everybody in. Just bear with me, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm late. I was teaching that class for AGLA this morning. It's been a day, let me tell you. Somebody just text something or tell me hello just so I know you guys are there and you can hear me.
Hi,
Great
Patty.
job on AGLA, Tammy.
Thank you. I know you're there. I love you
Hi,
guys.
Patty. We're here.
So guess what happened to me? I got in my car. I got dressed. I got ready to go to drive to the office. Hang on, I'm still letting people in. Admit all. We'll let you all in. Okay. So, and then there's more people. The story of my life. Okay. So I get ready to go to work this morning. I get all dressed. I got all ready. I'm in the car. I'm driving in the car and it's snowing. And I text my boss a picture of the snow. And I'm not even up to the freeway yet. And he says, go back home. The weather's horrible. So I got all excited because it was snowing these huge snowflakes, like the size of silver dollars. No joke this morning. So I wanted to start my webinar with my big fur jacket and my big hood thing and coming to you live from the blizzard. And then it stopped snowing right before I went live. So gone. Total idea ruined. So glad everybody was paying attention on AGLA today. If anybody has any questions about the talk today, there's a lot more stuff that I will share with you that I can't share with them. And I'm going to share this one. If you guys were in the AGLA class, just bear with me, letting people bear with me. One of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is if you accidentally do something wrong, we are human. Okay, we make mistakes. So in the event you accidentally raise somebody's rent more than what you were supposed to and you get an attorney letter, sometimes complying with them immediately stops everything. Okay, so dear attorney, thank you so much for bringing to my attention the fact that the rent was increased over the allotted amount. It was an oversight on our part. It's been corrected and the credit is on their ledger. Should you need anything further, please don't hesitate to approach me. Thanks so much and have a great day. Handled. A lot of times when attorneys write a letter because you did something wrong, and let's face it, we're human, we make mistakes, there's no need for you to panic. 9 times out of 10, you can fix it pretty easily. So don't get upset when something like that happens and you get an attorney letter and they're calling you out on something you did wrong. If you are human, you can make mistakes. It's okay. Don't panic is my big thing. Don't panic. Okay. There was one other thing I was going to share with you guys that I wasn't sharing with AGLA. And as soon as I remember what it is, I'll let you know. I hope everybody understood what I was trying to say with having a zero tolerance policy on late rents going forward. Everybody knows that Gavin Newsom passed that law that starts on September 1st. Stating that we can't do wage garnishments unless the debtor makes more than $41 an hour. People that make more than $41 an hour are buying homes, not renting them. So if they take away our recourse and say that you're not going to be able to garnish their wages or levy the funds in their bank accounts, then we're going to start serving 3 days a lot sooner because we don't have recourse. So it's going to be a quick, you didn't have your money on the 1st, on the 2nd, you got a 3-day. And by the 5th, I'm starting eviction. Why? Because I can't come after you for the money you owe me. Thank you, Gavin Newsom. So don't be shocked if your boss starts telling you, we're going to implement a zero tolerance policy on our late rents. That would be the why behind it. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, speak now or forever hold your peace. Gavin Newsom passed a new law. We can't garnish wages starting September 1st unless they make more than $41 an hour. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have tenants. Well, I have one. I don't have the majority of my tenants don't make that kind of money. So what is that going to make me do? Wait a minute. If I have no recourse, then I'm going to attack and go for the jugular as soon as I possibly can in the event of non-payment. I'm not going to work with them in the event of non-payment. I'm going to attack because I have no recourse. They're setting this up by design. They are forcing us to not want to work with the tenant because we don't have recourse. All right, let me see what questions are because I see them. Can we make that change with a Larso current tenants? What change? A zero tolerance policy on late rents? Is that the change you're speaking of? Because
Yes, Patty.
what you're talking about is maybe not the change you think it is. So right now, if your rent is due on the 1st, when is your grace period?
3 days.
Okay, I'd keep it at 3 days or don't do a grace period at all.
Mm-hmm.
Rent's due,
Right, but with a new tenant, but with the current tenant, just leave it.
it's only 3 days, I'd leave it. It's
Okay.
not detrimental to you at this
Okay.
point. If it was 5 or so, we'd be having a different conversation, but I'd leave
Yeah.
it alone.
Okay. Two other quick questions,
Sure.
if you don't mind. If you could just go over the LAHD, I notified my tenants, but you said something about single family in LA, and I didn't think that covered single family. And also, did you by chance have any input from the attorneys on what I sent you last week on the moving move out? If you were a small mom and pop, on how much you would have to pay fund reload fees?
Yes, I did talk to them about that. And they both looked at me and scratched their head and said, I wonder if we can enforce that, because I guess they haven't been able to thus far.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Now go back and ask me the other question, because squirrel. And I keep peeking out the window because it's windy out there, folks.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to start pouring here in LA. The LAHD that we had to notify our tenants about, in the AGLA meeting, they said something about single family, and I wasn't aware that they qualified as well.
Some single families are subject to and do require you notifying. And for those that are subject to and you are required to notify, here's what I have to say to you. They're talking about posting this poster up in the common area. On a single family residence, it's probably going to run like the Larso certificate. And just hear me out, please. If you've been subject to LARSO, you know that you have to have your certificate and you have to serve it to the tenant when you receive it. You also have to serve a copy of it with every notice you give them. You give them a 3-day, you have to have the certificate with your 3-day. Same thing's going to apply for this if your single family residence is subject to. So maybe you're running it with rooms for rent or something like that, that would make you more subject to this ordinance rather than trying to make wallpaper and post it up inside the single family home. You're probably going to run it just like we do for Larso, where we're serving the certificate with every document that we're serving. If you don't serve your registration certificate, then the document wasn't served. It's that simple.
So
Okay?
this certificate also needs this notification. It just said posted and also mail, so this one also needed the certificate?
So if you're required to post in mail, I'd post in mail. But what I'm speaking about is what they're talking about, where you have to post the new rules and the poster and the tenant's rights in the common area. You can't do that in a single family home.
Right.
I'm not
No,
making wallpaper. That's what Dan and I were joking about.
Right.
Is you
Right.
seen my wallpaper? Yeah, no. So that's what we mean by that is if you are subject to with a single family, the chances of you having to post it at the property in a poster in the common area, slim and none. It'll probably run like Larso where you just serve it every time you serve a notice.
I have a question, Patty, about that.
Yes.
What is the consequence if we don't post that notice in a fourplex or a duplex? What is the city going to do to us? What's the consequence?
Well, what are you going to try to do?
Nothing.
Okay,
What do you
because you're
mean?
not going to be able to do nothing if you didn't serve that certificate. You're not going to be able to evict or raise rents or do anything.
Oh, that's the consequence. So if I what?
Right on the nose. That's what I mean. Right on the nose.
You're hilarious. So I better post if I served it by mail or with all the documents, but they don't find it on the common area because it blew off or fell off. I mean, my goodness.
The wind blows here, but if you're serving them kind of notice, you want to make sure you're including that.
Okay. Otherwise, you cannot evict or for non-payment of rent. Okay, that's my consequence. Got it.
Or a rent increase.
Or even a rent increase. Okay,
If
got
it
it.
doesn't have that certificate, the document it came with never happened.
Never happened. Okay. Thank you.
No
Got it.
problem.
Patty,
Just
I posted 4 times. Gang members removed it and destroyed it.
in the common area?
Yes, yes. Anyone that passes by that can
Okay.
just pick it up.
Did you take a photo of it?
Yes.
Yeah, CYAP. Do you understand what I meant by that?
Not really, no.
Okay, I'm going to be pretty frank right here. I hope everybody. And is Val on here? Do you guys see her yet? Because she ain't talking or I can't see her, one or the other. CYAP means cover your ass with paper. So if you put it on the property and you took a picture and you served it to each one of the tenants in possession of the property, thank you, April, then who cares if they ripped it off the wall? Your intent was there and you can prove you had intent because you have a photo of it posted in the common area and all of your tenants have a proof of service when it was served to them.
Thank you, Patty.
So
Patty,
it shows
one more. Oh,
it shows
sorry.
intent is what I'm getting at. And you intend to do the right thing. You can't help it if somebody else destroys it, but you intended to do the right thing. Okay, Melanie, I'll get to you in a second. Go ahead, Sarita.
Okay, so so with respect to this new form, which is a new law that just came out January 28th. So are you saying we should mail this notice to everyone, even though they've lived there for 5 years or longer? In other words, they're not new tenants. They're not new.
It's a requirement for existing tenants and new tenants.
Oh, existing. I didn't read that. To me, I thought it meant any new tenant.
No, and you need to know.
Oh,
So now, do it now. Okay.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry, I am confused a bit here. We're talking about the new LAHD renter protection notice or another one. We're talking about LAHD renter protection notice. That's exactly what we're talking about. And it's unrelated to COVID. People think it's COVID. No, it's not COVID.
The first time this thing came was a long time ago, Patty, right?
I posted it in a common area and posted on each tenant's door, but did not include the certificate. What should I do?
Oh, I'm sure you did. It's in the common area.
Okay, so that's what I'm confused at, Pat. Does it have to be mailed to each individual, or as long as it's in the common area, that's notification?
Yes, to all of the above.
So you have to individually mail to each person and in addition, post it on a common area.
If you individually mail it to each person and you have a proof of service saying you did so, then you went above your job.
Okay, wow, okay.
like the common area posting. If all you had to do is put it in a common area, like one of our other members said, somebody could come
Yeah.
by and sit down. How are you protecting your asset that way?
Got
When
it.
you kill a tree to cover your asset,
Okay, I got it.
piece of
Yeah.
paper that covers your asset.
Ask,
Oh, that's
okay.
you served it to them and you have a proof of service. So it was served to each individual tenant. It was given to them at
Oh.
lease inception. It's posted in the common area. Let them tell you that you didn't do your job when you did it in every aspect you could think of.
Alexa, set a timer for 16 minutes.
Only 16 minutes, Alexa? I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Sorry. Oh, God, sorry.
It's okay. We're all friends here.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Okay, who's stupid question? Does it need to be in color? No. I believe it has to be in 10-point font. I would have to look at the statute. But you guys, how it's printed to you, serve it to them. Serve it to them. Serve it to them. It shows intent. You intended to do the right thing. If I posted in a common and individual posted to a tenant with a photo, do I have to resend with certificate? That's personal reference. I would try to cover my asset to the best of my ability. I would post it in the common area and take photos. I would personally serve it to each one of my tenants so I had a proof of service in their tenant file to help protect me later. Got it? If I got to tell somebody, I want to tell them every way that I can. And then I want to protect myself and cover my asset in every way that I can. So that would be a proof of service on each one of them. That way, one person couldn't say, oh, I never saw that notice. No, I served it to you. Here's a copy of the proof of service. It shows intent to do the right thing and notify your tenants of what their rights are. Intent, big word in litigation. But all I want you to do is cover your asset, okay? In every way.
Okay, Patty, this form came about 5-6 years ago. It's been around for some time now, right?
This form was recently remodified and now it's mandated, meaning it's required by law.
And it, by the way, it's required for all properties, even single family homes, condos, and in all of LA City, county, and the, right where it wasn't before. That's where the new part is. It was, right, Patty?
All residential dwellings within the county of Los Angeles is how I read it. And if that's not what we're required to do, we're not going to get in trouble by giving out information. Okay, it's not going to hurt you by offering too much info to a tenant. What's going to hurt you is if you don't do enough. Okay, I hope that's clicking with everybody. And come on, let's all rewind our brains for just a minute. Just a minute, okay? Do you remember during COVID when we were required to serve a COVID renter protection fact sheet with the 3-day notice or the 15-day notice? At that time, I think it was 15 days. But come on, you guys, I'm going back 2 years. Remember how we all panicked? We don't want to have to serve them what their rights are and tell them what the rules are. They're just not going to pay us anymore. We're required to. End of statement. You're required to. Don't fear it. Everybody has to do it, okay? Not just you, everybody. So where do we get the form for LA County? It's on the website. I'll put it on Widget's Way website. It replaces the previous notice or additional. This is additional. It has new verbiage. This is not the COVID-19 renter protection fact sheet. This is the LAHD renter protection fact sheet. So it applies to the county. AGLA has it online. You can also Google it. And I'll put it up on Widget's Way if it's not there. Yes, there should also be one in Spanish because this is going to have to be dual languaged. Multiple languaged, I'm sure. Hi, Val. I see you. Nope, it's gone. I don't see you, Val. All right, you guys, tell me what Val's saying. I saw it quickly and then it disappeared. Somebody tell me what she said. And all of a sudden I'm getting extremely warm. So we might have to take off my sweater. Can somebody see what Val said and unmute yourself and just read it to me or something? Okay.
Hey, Patty, I have a quick question. I wanted to show you our snow at the same time.
Oh,
Anyways, why shouldn't we post our own quits?
okay. Personal opinion or business advice? Business advice? We'll go with that.
Business.
On a 3-day notice to quit, the only thing that can be argued in court is what's on the notice. So if you don't attach all of your previous curables and your 24 hours to inspect as exhibits, then the attorney might not be able to argue all of that other stuff in court. All that can be argued in court on a quit notice is what's on the quit notice. So if you're referencing a police report or an incident, you need to have the police report and it needs to be attached as an exhibit. So what I'm trying to say to you is, if you were getting in an argument with your husband about something, okay, one thing, and only you could argue it, wouldn't you want to be in charge of the basis of that argument? Give your attorney the chance to make sure that everything that they want to argue in court is on that document. That's what I'm saying. Nothing more, nothing less. A lot of times a tenant or a landlord will serve their own notice to quit and it doesn't have everything that the attorney wants on that notice so that they can argue it better. Does that make all their curables now voided? Do we have to start the whole process over again? So it can become very, very tricky. I don't write my own quit notices. I refuse to do it because I don't know what that attorney is going to want to argue with. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, but that's why I don't do my own quit notices and I don't suggest you do. Oh, Anna, you saved me from Val. Okay, I know we have discussed this recently, but I need to hear it again. I am changing over to all CAA forms in Kern County. I am going to be raising a bunch of rents to be effective May 1st. I know you said to post and mail. However, the fine print says, oh my good God. Services is acceptable of a 30-day notice. The 35 days is obviously be more for the convenience of me. The new form does not have an area to increase the security deposit. So I am assuming there is an additional form to raise the security deposit. Yes, it would be a 30-day notice to change the terms of tenancy. And you're writing that you're increasing the security deposit by no more than what you're increasing the rent. So if you're limited to a 3% increase on the rent, then you can only increase the deposit by 3%. And there's no form for it, love. You're looking for just an additional 30-day notice to change the terms of tenancy to increase the deposit. And then you would write your deposit clause and then write that you're increasing that amount, and they have 30 days to pay that difference. But don't raise the deposit more than you can raise the rent. Okay, if you're limited to 3%, you can only raise the deposit 3%. If you're limited to 5%, you can only raise the deposit 5%. I hope that clicks. And if you're personally serving or post and mail, if you're doing a rent increase or terminating tenancy, I always send it certified. So rent increases go certified mail, and termination of tenancy, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 3-day quit, GTFO. If I'm telling them we're ending this relationship, I'm sending it certified mail. If I'm telling them that I'm raising their expenses, I'm sending it certified mail. Other than that, I don't send certified unless my attorney suggests I do so. go back and answer Geraldo's question. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. You guys are all awesome, just so you know. Geraldo, where are you? I don't see it as the problem, Tony. Can you copy and paste it for me? I'm going backwards. I might find it. Oh, I see it. I see it. I got it. I raised the rent as of the 20th of the month. The tenant told me the rent was due on the 20th. My mother tells me that the contract says the 10th. Did I accidentally change the due date? Let me read it again. No, you did something worse. You raised the rent on the 20th of the month, okay? When did you give them a rent increase notice? Because if you raise the rent on, let me give you an example, okay? If you raise the rent, thank you. If you raise the rent on, we'll use your date, okay, in December. Rent's due on the 10th. You gave them a 30-day notice to change of terms of tenancy to raise their rent. Hold on, I'm looking now. You raised it on 12/10 to take effect on 1/20. Okay, here's the problem. The rent was due on 1/10, right? At the old amount. Because the increase doesn't take effect until the 20th of January after the rent is due. So the first time they will pay the increased amount is in February. Got it? I hope that clicked and it makes sense. You can send an increase notice anytime. Yep. If you told them the increase took effect on the 20th, rent was due on the 10th. So the rent for that month has already been paid. You can't prorate a rent increase. So the first time it would take effect is on the first rental period of the following month. As long as I didn't change the due date. You didn't change the due date on the rent. You made it so that the increase didn't take effect when the rent was due for that month. It won't take effect until the following month. No, you did not change when the rent was due. You just kind of cheated yourself out of a rent increase, but that's okay. I'd rather have you err on the side of caution than go making mistakes. And did you guys hear what I said about them challenging late fees? And don't be shocked if we're not able to do that going forward. I wasn't joking. Late fees are a huge challenge in LA County. If we're doing an eviction for someone in LA, we're making them go back 3 years during the COVID pandemic and remove any increases they did from their ledger, apply it as a credit, and then do the 3-day notice. So rent increases in LA County during the pandemic, bad. Late fees, bad. We're seeing a problem with late fees being challenged everywhere, not just LA. Late fees will be the next thing that they take away from us, in my opinion. Okay. Val, I saw you, but now I don't see you. I have, maybe it wasn't you, Val. I'm trying, you guys, I really am. I have Anna. I have Larso tenants. If they pay rent late and I have a late payment fee clause on the rental agreement, is it okay to charge now? You can tell them they owe it. If they pay it, you can put it on their ledger that they paid it. If they don't pay it, I wouldn't evict them for it. That's how much it's being challenged. Okay. Don't be shocked if late fees go away entirely. And all of a sudden, I just saw this whole plethora of messages coming on. So hang on, let me go backwards. From Val, thank you. I bet Geraldo's tenant will pay the increase, but did they pay the increase in February? She's curious. So Geraldo, could you answer that? They want to know if they paid the February increase. So we can't prorate rental increase, even if we charge them accordingly. Okay, good. Let's dive into this. This is my Roadrunner team, you guys. Okay, example, rent is $2,000 and we're increasing it to $2,100. And we served on the 15th. I'm assuming you're served the rent increase notice on the 15th. Okay. We can't charge them the old rate for the first half and the second rate for the second half. No. If your rent increase takes effect if you serve them a rent increase on the 15th of the month, and their rent is due on the 1st, you just gave them a 45-day notice. If the increase takes effect on the 15th of the following month, but the rent was already paid on the 1st, they owe the rent for the old rate. The new rate won't take effect until the 1st of the following month. Got it? Don't make the mistake and don't ever try to prorate a rent increase. It doesn't work. The due date of the rent doesn't change. The amount of the rent does. So if the increase takes effect after old rent is paid, then it won't take effect until the new rent is due. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Do we need to give them 30 days? Yes and no. 30 days is required for 10% or less. 90 days is required for Section 8 housing. There is no 60-day notice anymore. They removed it from us in 2021. No more 60-day notice of rent increase. It no longer exists. It is now a 10% or less is on a 30-day. Anything over 10%, I'm going to ask you, do you look good in orange? And that goes on a 90-day. Also, Section 8 housing goes on a 90-day, even though it's 10%. I hope that all clicked with you guys. There's no more 60-day notice of rent increase. It doesn't exist anymore. They took it away from us. It's either a 30-day or a 90-day. Victor, I love you. I don't look good in orange either. So what we're talking about, in case you guys don't know, and I'll just give you a heads up, is California Civil Code. Nope. Patty, you said it wrong. California Penal Code. That's right. It's a penal code. 396 paragraph B talks about price gouging during a state of emergency. Oh, folks, just so you know, San Bernardino declared a state of emergency yesterday because of the winter storms. If California is in a state of emergency, you cannot raise rents over 10%. If you do, you are subject to a $10,000 fine and 6 months in jail. This law took effect January 1st of 2016. There is no case law in regards to it yet. There was going to be some case law because a landlord in Northern California, after all those fires we had, raised their rent from like $1,300 to $5,400 because they had a vacancy. They wanted to take advantage of the supply and demand and all those fires that we had up in Northern California. So they raised their rent like $5,000. They're being charged with 3 felony counts of price gouging during a state of emergency. And then COVID hit, so the case did not progress. It is sitting at a standstill. So no case law on that yet, folks. And I don't look good in orange. I don't know about you, but I'm not doing it. So don't you do it, okay? Patty, giving there is a rent threshold. Can I refuse partial payments of rent so that I can serve 3-day notices more quickly? I don't accept partial payments. It depends. It's a business decision. Let me explain, okay? If you have a tenant that hasn't paid rent and they owe like $5,000, okay, I'm just saying, and they bring you $3,500, I'm going to take the money and serve them a new 3-day, because that $3,500 is going to help me pay for the eviction. It's a business decision. If your tenant is making a payment of $1,100 a month in rent and they pay you $100, I would refuse it. It's insulting. I'm sorry, I'm not accepting your payment. It's not the full amount on the notice. Okay, it's a business decision. Nothing more, nothing less. I hope that makes sense to you. If you're taking the money, you're reserving the notice, you're starting the process over, it better be worth it. I wouldn't do that for $100. I wouldn't do that for $500 if they owed me $15,000. I hope, yeah, okay. All right, as long as you're getting it and you're like, oh, ding, got it, thanks. Okay, that's why Patty's here. We can. What are you saying, Roadrunner? Hang on. Hold on, hold on. Gabby, I'm seeing your letter from Code. I'm going backwards, you guys. Just bear with me. So we can't prorate a rental increase even if we charge them accordingly. No, we cannot. Rent would then become due at the new amount on the first of the following month. Okay, Gabby, I'm to you. Hi, Patty. I just got a letter from code enforcement for a single family home in West Covina, LA County. Very familiar. Stating that they received complaints alleging a violation, but they can't see the issue from the street and they want to enter the property. Does the tenant need to allow code enforcement to enter? Code enforcement said if we don't comply, they would get a warrant, but they don't give a reason of the complaints in the letter. What are the laws and the rights in this case if the tenant doesn't comply? Thanks. Hang on, Gabby, I'm wrapping my head around it. Here's what I would do, Gabby, but it's just me, okay? I'd call Erica Taylor over at Crime Free Housing in West Covina and ask her to reach out to code enforcement for me to find out what the issue is or potential issue is so you can gear up and be ready, because in the event they're doing human trafficking or something along those lines of something bad, okay, you want to be geared up with your legal counsel and ready to do an eviction. I'm concerned that code enforcement wants to get into this house and they want you to force the issue, but you don't know why. Hey, Gabby. Code enforcement records are public record. Is it code enforcement that wants in that property, or is it law enforcement? Find out. I'd be talking to that code enforcement officer. I'd want to know why. Code enforcement records are public. I got to be careful what I say to you. And thank you, Gabby. I think you got what I was saying. Okay, good. Hi, Patty. I talked to you about this yesterday. Tenant in Culver City is renting out a room, but the lease says they are renting out the entire apartment. No. The lease doesn't say they're renting out the entire apartment. What the problem is there is the lease doesn't specify that they're only renting one room. Because it's not specified that they're renting a room, it looks like they're renting the whole apartment. Yes, exactly. Okay. The second room is locked with the owner's storage items. It's a bad business practice, just so you know. The owner wants to find another tenant to occupy the second room to do an entirely new set of tenants once the current lease expires? Are there any current protections for the current tenant who is renting the 1 bedroom? Yes, his lease says he rents the whole house. That's a problem. So you might want to tell him that you found an error on his rental agreement and you'd like to see if he would sign a revised copy. I reached a stipulated agreement with my tenant. Yay! He's gone now. Will the eviction get unsealed after a year or is it sealed forever? The record is sealed forever. Don't shoot the messenger. In 2016, they passed something called the eviction masking law. 16? Maybe it was 17. I have to look at my notes. It was 17. It was 2017. They passed the eviction masking law. Let me tell you what it is in simple English, okay? What it says is if a landlord wins the case and judgment is entered in their favor within the first 60 days of filing, the record shows the eviction. So what does that mean to you? It means the tenant that you serve with eviction paperwork moves out in the middle of the night, they have an eviction on their credit. The tenant that asks for a trial by jury and rakes you over the coals and files every demur, motion to quash, ex parte, their record is sealed and no one will ever see that they've been evicted. It's ass backwards. I want to start telling you guys this, okay? But I'm being funny right now. Please don't take me seriously, but hear what I'm saying. I want to put an ad in the newspaper that says, I rent to people with evictions. Evictions welcome. Do you want to know why? Because if it shows they had an eviction on their credit report, it means they ran in the middle of the night and the landlord won in 60 days. They vacated. In 60 days, you were done. You had possession. I'd sign up for that all day long. I don't know about you guys, but I would. If I knew I'd be done with an eviction in 60 days, I'd sign up for it all day long. Every day, all day long. Wouldn't you? I mean, they keep throwing all these regulations at us of what we can't do. What in the hell would we do if we started advertising evictions welcome? Why? Why would you do that, Patty? Because you can't see them on the credit report for the jerks that asked for a trial by jury and raked you over the coals. You can't see it. But the one you can see, you have to remember, is the guy that ran in the middle of the night because you served him with a summons and complaint. That's who has an eviction on their credit. That's who I want to rent to. Not the jerk that asks for a jury trial and rakes me over the coals for 11 months or 18 months or God only knows. I don't want to rent to them and I can't see that they've been evicted. Did this totally open your mind? Because everybody got really quiet. Nobody's asking any questions. Boom, mind blown. I bet you. Owner wants to wait till the lease expires. Owner is going to have to wait until the lease expires or get them to enter into a new agreement for only the room. Because the way it sits now, they're renting the whole house. Anybody else have anything for me? Or did I just blow your minds with renting to people with evictions? Anna, I got to tell you something. I don't know if you know Val, but I'm telling you, you're making her voice heard. And I want to thank you for that, because that's what I'm all about, is making sure that the little guy's voice is heard and making sure the little guy's questions are answered. And I don't know why I can't see Val on here. I can see it for a quick second, but it's gone as soon as it comes. And Anna, I just want to thank you for going above and beyond and copying and pasting so that we can all help Val. I appreciate that. I appreciate that all of us try to help each other out. That is golden to me. And that's why I started this. So when I see that happening, I want to cry because I'm like, yay, my team, my people. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I know you don't want to rent to somebody that's been evicted, but hear me out, Val. You can't see it if the record's sealed. They could be standing in front of you and just went through 5 jury trials with the last 5 properties, and you can't see it on the credit report. But you can see the one that moved out in the middle of the night because his record shows it. What I'm saying is the system is ass backwards. Maybe we want to try to start finding a way to use that to our benefit as they continue to create laws and rules that restrict us from doing certain things. Why not get on the other side of the fence and start just approaching it? Evictions, welcome. I'm this close to changing the way I do business. This close. I might start advertising evictions welcome. I'm seriously considering it. I'm crazy, huh? Shh, don't tell anybody. Back to RSO. You got it. I know you are, Anne. I love you guys for helping. You guys are awesome. Back to RSO notice, etc. If we've got the new RSO cert for July 23, can we just send that one, or do we need to send the current one, even if already sent it last year? I'd sent all the current stuff because it has new verbiage on it. It has new language. That's what I'm working on. Patty, I have a long-term, oh, this is a direct message. Maybe I shouldn't read it out loud, but we're going to go with it. If it's private, I'll stop talking. Patty, I have a long-term tenant, 12 plus years, who wants to do major upgrades to her apartment, including granite countertops, flooring, etc. She is willing to pay for some of the upgrades, but would like to know if I can contribute. My building is very old and the tenant is on low RSO rent. What are my responsibilities in this situation in the city of LA? You don't have to put in granite countertops. You don't have to put in travertine floors. But if your tenant wants permission to make modifications to your property and wants written consent to do upgrades at their own expense, run with it. But if you think for a hot minute that you're required to put in granite countertops and travertine floors for a tenant, you are sadly mistaken. If they want, and let me say this, I had a tenant in a property years ago. And it wasn't a property I managed. It was a property that one of my employees managed. So I kind of managed it. I was the regional manager. This woman had money, no joke. She asked for permission to make modifications to the property to upgrade the house to her liking. She put in granite countertops, travertine floors, recessed lighting. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's the trim that goes on the top of the wall, not the bottom. Do you know what I'm talking about? Why can't I think of the name of it?
Crown molding.
Thank you. I love my people. Mwah! Crown molding. She put in crown molding. She put in all kinds of stuff. The owner let her do all of it. She did some serious upgrades to that house, let me tell you. She put in all Maytag stainless steel appliances. After about 6 months of living there, after she did all of this, guess what? The owner listed the house for sale. Okay, if your tenant wants upgrades to the property, you always have this to say. Remember, habitability, upgrade. 2 different things. And Hilda, thank you for laughing because that one came out of our old company. I was there. The tenant literally did about $70,000 worth of upgrades. They lived there for about 2 years altogether. When they were finished with all the upgrades, the owner allowed the tenancy to continue for an additional 6 months, and then they sold the property and made a nice profit. That tenant was peeved. But come on. Did the landlord do anything wrong? No, they allowed him to make modifications to the property at their own expense. If you find one of those, keep them. Just saying. Every once in a while, we get one of those weird things that happen, and we're like, I'm not saying take advantage of everybody out there, but in the event somebody wants to remodel your property at their expense and then upgrade it to the point where you're going to make a hefty profit, do it. I'm surprised she didn't wreck the place after making all those upgrades. Destruction of private property is a crime. Destruction of real property is a crime. She should have known. She should have known. If you want to put that much time, effort, and investment into a property, you better own it. Just saying. You wouldn't make all those modifications to a rental car, would you? You wouldn't put nice rims in it. You wouldn't put in better suspension in the rental car. You wouldn't give it a new paint job. Put new tires on the rental car. Understand? Same concept. Same concept. If you guys want to allow modifications to your property, there's a process and procedure from that. Thank you again, Anna. Val's coming in. I love you guys. You have no idea. A tenant asked for new flooring. They wanted laminate flooring versus carpet. I knew I did not need to do it, but I ended up paying for half, thought it was very reasonable, and it's my flooring now. And there's an end. There is an end. Carpet. Rental and how do I want to say this? Investment property and carpeting are bad. It's something you'll always be replacing. There'll always be a problem with it. It'll always have a smell. It's always an issue. Okay. So as you start repairing after flipping your vacant unit, there's the terminology I wanted. When you're flipping a vacant unit and you're having to replace flooring, you may want to look at a laminate, a tile. Maybe it looks like wood and it's tile. Maybe it's fake wood. The difference in pricing between wood floor and carpet isn't as severe as it used to be. Used to be like night and day. It's not that bad anymore. And there is a way, okay, for you, landlord, to make an upgrade to your real property between tenants at the old tenant's expense. I said upgrade, so you're going to pay a portion of it, but not all of it. If your tenant living in your property vacated and the carpet's destroyed, okay, just hear me out. Maybe it's pet urine. It's a common thing. It happens a lot. Carpet is destroyed because of pet urine. You have estimates. They can't clean it. They're going to have to pull up the carpeting, replace the padding, and seal the subfloor. You now have an estimate of what all of that is going to cost. Okay. You can then upgrade to vinyl flooring, pergo wood, tile, travertine, cement, whatever it is you want to do. What it is whatever it costs to replace, the tenant pays, you pay the difference for the upgrade. Tenant doesn't pay for the upgrade. They pay for what they damaged and what it would cost to replace it. You pay for the upgrade. Okay. Hang on. New form. Yep. Val, that's a good business practice. I'm with you. Can she sue for the money she invested in the unit, stating she thought she was going to live there a long time? She was allowed to make modifications to the property. The owner gave her written consent. The owner doesn't have to pay for those modifications. She could sue you saying what? She upgraded your property? You gave her permission. I get what you're asking me, but what I'm trying to say in a nice way is I don't know what her defense would be. There isn't one that I can think of. And I've seen this happen in this industry on more than one occasion. You'd be shocked. Some people want to do some interesting things in a home. For the most part, the modifications we don't hear about are the stripper poles. I mean, you're not going to ask your landlord, can I put a stripper pole in the master bedroom? There's some things you just don't want to talk about, okay? I should have talked about that in the AGWA meeting today. Let's talk about the embarrassing things tenants don't want to talk about. Hey, they happen. We're sure. If the tenant had been there for 2 years, has an interior staircase, carpet less than 5 years old, but stained, can't clean it. Can I install laminate and have them pay what the replace of the carpet and labor would be? Most likely, yes. The tenant's been there 2 years. Carpet's less than 5 years old. How old's the carpet? How much are you going to put on the tenant in possession? Because they've been there 2 years. Carpet only has a lifespan of 5 years, 7 years on upgraded carpet. And here's my thing. Don't re-put carpet. Carpet is one of those. You know how I feel about carpet? And those of us that really manage property are going to laugh at this one. I feel about carpet the same way I feel about toilet paper roll holders. I should be buying them in bulk. I don't know why, but every time my tenants move out, the toilet paper holder is on the wall, but that little bar that goes in the middle is gone. 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 I don't know what tenants do with those. I don't know what other purpose they serve. I don't know how they could be repurposed, but for some reason or other, they disappear in residential dwellings. Toilet paper holders, not the part that comes out of the wall, but the little thing that goes in the middle that holds it all together disappears like nobody's business. They're as disposable as carpet is. You use the new kind, Arlene? The new kind is awesome. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, get it. Go check it out. It stands up straight. They have the holders that come up out of the floor now too, that are just mobile. I like those. Those are nice. They're nice. I like them. All right. Does anybody have anything else? I don't want to bore you guys. But if you want to pick my brain some more, you're more than welcome to. And if nobody has anything else, we'll end this for today. Thank you, Victor. Thank all of you for helping. Oh, I saw something else. Hi, Tony. I removed those toilet paper holders. That's why I want to replace with the recessed wall paper holders as part of my tenant improvements. I got you, Tony. It just took me a second. I am blonde. I figured it out. I'm pretty good at that. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of you. And I love how we work together as a team. That is, I couldn't ask for more. I couldn't. You guys are all awesome. I did tell you that we would talk more about Measure H in Pasadena. And I know that I saw April on here. So let me just say this about Measure H in Pasadena. It's really hard for me to tell you to make changes to your ledgers and give credits to your tenants in a compliance with Measure H. When Measure H isn't a law, it's not signed off on. So let me ask you a question. How can you enforce something that isn't the law? How can you implement something that isn't the law? I want to tell you guys exactly what you need to do, but the reality is I don't even know what that is because we don't have a signed law in place. By you waiting until the waking hour to do these implements, you could be signing up to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning correcting your ledgers on the drop dead date. But how do I tell you to implement something that isn't the law? See the conundrum? Do you see the evil, wicked circle and the way it's going around? How do I tell you what to do when it's not the law? Yeah. So I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, just like you are. Okay. Part of me wants to tell you, go make those changes to your ledgers, let your tenants know. But once you take that money away, you can't put it back. And it's not the law. So I hate to say this when it comes to Measure H, hold. It's not the law. So how do I tell you what to do when it's not the law? It's not signed off on. Err on the side of caution. Be prepared. If you wait to the drop dead date, you could be up till 3 o'clock in the morning correcting ledgers so that you're in compliance. Okay. You may want to start getting all the work ready so that if it becomes the law, you can implement it. Until then, it's not the law. It would be easy for your attorney to argue that it wasn't a signed on law is why you didn't enforce it. On that note, have a wonderful week. If you guys need me, hunt me down. Be careful. It's pretty windy out there. It stopped snowing where I'm at, but it is windy and cold. You guys have a great week. I love you all. Mwah. I'll talk to you soon.